Hey everybody, welcome to Perpetual Motion with Dr. Mo Anderson. Are you like me? You might have a little bit invested in cryptocurrency, but you really don't know what the heck you're doing. Are you just crypto curious? Everyone's talking about it, talking about investing in it, trading Bitcoins, and you're just lost. It's not what we're used to. It's not the traditional way of doing exchange. If so, join us this afternoon with my friend all the way from Bama, y'all, Josh Rhodes. Welcome, Josh.
Hey there. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm excited. I am so excited since we connected and had our initial conversation. You've been, as I understand it, in the cryptocurrency investment world since 2018. Why did you get into it, and what type of returns are you getting on your investments?
Well, I would love to tell you that I have this awesome, complex, romantic story with crypto and the discovery of crypto, but I don't. I'm like most people. I saw a FOMO headline somewhere on social media, and it made me dig into the actual news headlines, and I bought Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I didn't know why, and I didn't know what it was for, but it was the beginning of a beautiful relationship. And since then, I've had over 2,000% returns in the last 4 years, and I've created a little framework around it called the crypto flywheel, which sounds exotic. We can talk as much about it as you want to. But yeah, I've had a blast. I really kind of fell in love with the utility and the application of crypto.
Okay, and you're an early adopter. I think it's been around since like 2008 or something like that. There's a whole story about somebody in a dungeon and a white paper and all of that we won't get into. I just was like, oh, this is weird. But here we are today. It's all everybody is talking about, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and your returns are incredible. I mean, we've done the stock market, we look at real estate investing, so many ways that people become millionaires and build toward their retirement, but nobody's getting that type of returns on the market. So now you teach Crypto 101, and like I said, I'm investing in it just a little bit. I don't know what I'm doing, so I appreciate your transparency. But start with the basics. What is cryptocurrency? What is Bitcoin? And why is it valuable?
Well, the question, what is crypto, is an awesome question that needs to be asked. And it is also a really loaded question, because it's kind of like saying, hey, what is zoology, right? It's like, describe animals.
That's fair to a biology major. That's a very fair thing to say.
Yeah. So, just like zoology or biology, you walk into a zoo, for example. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of, it's full of animals, right? But there's all kinds of species. And I equate crypto, the category of crypto, the same way. There's a lot of different kinds of crypto. And I would say, for anyone watching or listening that wants to get started, you really want to focus probably on Bitcoin first, because it's the granddaddy of them all. It's got the most notoriety. It's got the widest name brand recognition, and it has the largest, what we call, market capitalization, and which is basically the financial metric that represents its adoption globally. Okay. It has about almost a $1 trillion market cap. Now, to give your listeners an anchor point for market cap, gold, that's been around for thousands of years, right, has a market cap of about 10 trillion. So Bitcoin's been around for 13 years, and it's like at 1 trillion, mm-hmm. and gold's been around for thousands of years, and it's at 10 trillion. So that should tell you how immaculate the adoption and the conception of Bitcoin has been, and how it is now. If you're explaining, like, what is it? Mm-hmm. I would say, if you walk into the crypto zoo, you need to understand that there's Bitcoin and there's everything else. And Bitcoin is the largest peer-to-peer network on the planet. As a matter of fact, it's the largest computer network on the planet. And that, I think, if you understand that before you start trying to talk about money and finances and stuff, it all makes a lot more sense. So that means that me and Dr. Mo can interact. We can send digital energy, digital information, digital money and currency to each other, no matter where we are on the planet, without interruption, without corruption, without mutability from tyrants or governments or greedy humans.
Other third parties.
Third party. That's right. And so we're going to have hundreds of computers who don't have emotions. They aren't corruptible, and they've never been hacked. That's the beautiful part about the Bitcoin network, is that it's so decentralized that it's unhackable. And so you and I can have these trustworthy, secure interactions without third parties getting involved. And so that's really kind of a massive deal when it comes to innovation and speed of a global economy. And from there, you've got everything else, which are altcoins, or really they're alternative coins or alternative projects in the crypto world that have different utilities and applications. And you just need to look at them basically as software companies like Microsoft or Apple.
Okay. And when you say look at them like software companies, you're talking about like Ethereum or Litecoin?
Yeah. Ethereum would be the second largest crypto on the planet in terms of market cap, but it's an altcoin. It's kind of the first of its race, and then everything else kind of falls in line after that. And you have stable coins and DeFi and all these other parts of the zoo, if you will.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest, I'm lost. I get the zoo analogy, and I understand that Bitcoin is digital money, right? And now there's alternatives. I'm just backing up to make sure I'm keeping up with you, because other people may have more experience, but we're doing 101 so that we can go to the very basics. So if we stick with kind of like, as Bitcoin is our model for being digital money that people are using to make secure transactions. I'm glad you emphasized that. What is blockchain?
Well, blockchain is like saying, it's like understanding that we have freight trains and commuter trains, but blockchain would be the railroad tracks. It's the technology that everything's built on. So and I think that also is a great starting block for people before they start thinking about financial ramifications. Start thinking about the technology of blockchain, and the other technology to understand, or at least be aware of, is cryptography, which is literally the encoding of information so that it can be private and shippable, if you will, or portable. Across the blockchain network. So yeah, the blockchain is like the subway network or the train network that the information or the crypto is from peer to peer travels.
Got it. Now you alluded to, and I see this a lot, that when you make transactions with cryptocurrency, there's no interference from other parties. It's peer to peer, person to person, peer to peer. But for a lot of people, their fear, particularly older people, boomers, my generation and older, that is the fear. That's not something that brings them comfort. It's like, nobody's over this. You can make alternative currencies. How do we know it's safe? Why do you feel so comfortable that it's safe? Because I'm not a technology person, I'm a science person. So how do we feel so comfortable about this when things are constantly becoming unsafe that we thought were safe?
That's a great question. So I would answer it on two levels. Number one, you can, just like anything else, you experience security and safety. I mean, there's the psychological side of it, right? Like, can I sleep? Like, can I sleep at night? Is the aspect. And I think the thing, and a lot of the people that, for example, I do a cohort every month with about 15 investors who are kind of new to crypto, and it's just like a hand-holding, high-touch environment. The way I help people get acclimated is just invest $50. Like, not that, I mean, where I'm from, $50 is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say
you sound like you're from the East Coast. Where are you from?
No. I'm just saying, in terms of, capital investments, let's throw $50 in and just let's watch what happens. let's practice and get in the game and exercise exposure to this thing called crypto. And hey, you know what? No one needs to be in a hurry. There's no timer and there's no bomb that's going to go off if you don't invest enough money. But there is a level of opportunism that you want to take advantage of. And the only way you can really ultimately feel safe and secure is to try it out, to test it. It's kind of like going on the roller coaster for the first time. Like when you go to Six Flags or Disney World or wherever, how can you trust that roller coaster is not going to fall off the tracks? Right, well, at some point, you got to watch people do it and you've got to do it yourself. So that's that.
Okay.
But then also, there's plenty of information out there just on an intellectual, like academic level, not to be boring or snoozing anybody, but like, here's a great example. The banks of the world, or the institutional dollars of the world, the truly wealthy organizations. Think about this.
Okay.
You've got BlackRock, who has $10 trillion under management. You've got Fidelity Investments, who have like $11 trillion under management. They are now allowing their investors to have exposure to Bitcoin in their 401ks. They're applying to launch exchange traded funds, ETFs. So, you know, little old Josh here, I could have hubris and think that I know more than they do about safety and security of financial transactions.
I'd be right with your hubris.
But that's a lot of hubris. So if I see the $10 trillion whales doing something, you know, if they're buying houses on the coast in Florida, they probably aren't worried about global warming or floods taking over the coast. I can also, if they're buying Bitcoin, I could probably trust my $50 there.
That's a great answer, because I'm seeing it on my payment apps now that, you know, it's allowing you to do it. And also with the brokers that you can even do fractional, you know, shares of it. So in your cohorts, in your classes, you're the crypto expert, crypto 101. I'm just curious, what types of people are joining your courses to learn more about crypto?
It's people who have predominantly a clear why, a clear purpose in life, and it's people who it doesn't matter what background they come from. Yeah, they have a little bit of capital that they want to invest. You know, they might have $1, $2, $3, $5,000 that's in the bank account that like they're not doing anything with. They know that inflation is happening, and they know that their cash isn't working for them. And so they wake up every day and they're fighting for somebody. They're fighting for their kids. They're fighting for their families. You know, for I grew up, my dad was a Vietnam vet. He came home. We lived in rural Alabama. He came home and started a lumber business and just fought for our family just so I could buy Little League baseball jerseys, you know? And so these are people that have the same heartbeat. They want to do something. They want to be generous. They want to be benevolent. They want to give back. But they also want a financial education, and they don't want to miss the greatest financial technology movement in history, which is crypto.
Yes, you answered my question. Where are you in Bama? I wanted to give people an opportunity to guess, because when I lived in the Midwest, they would ask me where I was from all the time, and I would just say the South, southern Minnesota, which just kind of, I like to blow their minds. I knew we were going to have fun today just with the draws alone, if with nothing else. And I like the idea of starting small, just kind of put your toe in the water. But do you tell them to trade through online brokers, use apps? Start small in which way? There's so many lanes where you can jump on board and get into this.
Well, and I don't want to scare anybody off. Like, you can literally buy fractions of crypto. You do not have to have, you know, a life savings saved up to buy or invest in crypto. Like, you can have a Robinhood app. You can have a Coinbase account. These accounts are free to open, and you only pay them obviously when you make a transaction. So I would encourage anybody watching, you know, if you're setting aside $50 a month, $50 a week, whatever your paycheck allows,
right?
it's a great place to get in. And you don't have to, an entire Bitcoin, to own an entire Bitcoin at this point, it's 40,000, 60,000, depending on when the listener is listening to this. You don't have to pay $40,000 to have Bitcoin. You can pay $50 and just have a fraction of one. And that is an accretive asset. See, I think Bitcoin is going to raise millions, if not billions, of people out of poverty all over the world, not just Americans who want to make an extra buck. It's going to be this decentralized currency that will give millions of unbanked people access to own property. It's just digital property. It's not actual real estate, but it's an asset class. It has the characteristics and the dynamic characteristics of property. You can loan against it. It has accretive value. It can have residual daily cash flow. Like there's all kinds of characteristics that crypto has that you can access. So like compare it to like real estate, which I love real estate investing. Don't get me wrong, but like you can't go buy a house in the next 30 minutes. You just can't. Assuming you even find a house right now with the supply crisis that we have, assuming that you get a good bargain or a deal, and assuming you don't have to renovate it, maybe you do want to flip it, but like good luck. You're going to close on it in the next 6 to 8 weeks, and you got to go through bank financing, and they're going to draw
all the bidders.
You're going to draw your blood. They want to know your blood type. They want to know everything about you. Well, you don't have to do that. In the next 30 minutes, you can own Bitcoin, and you can have this thing that has been going up in value on average by 148% a year for the last 13 years. The S&P 500 can't touch that. No, so the accessibility of the crypto is it's off the charts. And I think it's going to change the world.
This is where I have to jump in, and it's not a dumb question because I really don't understand it. Why is the value going up so exponentially? People are buying it, people are trading it. What is it that's driving the valuation of it, whether it's up or down?
Sure. There is a known principle called Metcalfes Law of Adoption that everyone needs to Google because it's a modern phenomenon. But long story short, think back on social media empires as we know it. They're not that old, right? Early 2000s.
Right. Before Elon Musk bought Twitter. I'll think back that further.
Think about Facebook. Think about Instagram. Like, why did Facebook buy Instagram for $1 billion? And it was a deal at the time. Like, the reason why is because the more people who adopt a platform, the more valuable that platform and the assets that reside on it become. And so there's just like this snowball effect. Even as we speak, the Republic of Central Africa just adopted Bitcoin as legal tender. El Salvador did it in 2021. Panama is now moving legislation across. So you've got third world emerging industrial environments that are saying, hey, you know what? We're tired of our current. So there's that adoption. Then you've got the BlackRocks and the Fidelities, and they're starting these ETFs. And you've got states in the United States who are saying, hey, you can pay your taxes in Bitcoin, because guess what? They realize it too. They know that the US dollar is becoming less valuable. So why don't we let people pay for government services with Bitcoin? Because it's going up in value. Let them give us their Bitcoin. So all this adoption, I'm not even getting into the consumer side of it. It's just happening. So more people jumping on a network, and that it's like the tide starts to rise. And if your boat is on that tide, it rises with it. And that's just kind of what Metcalfes Law of Adoption describes. And it's also like cell phone towers or AT&T and Verizon. Like the more people, or the internet. Think about, as a matter of fact, Metcalfe is Bob Metcalfe, actually out of Austin, Texas. I think he ended up being a professor at University of Texas. He was one of the early pioneers of the internet, and he was selling Ethernet networking. And he was describing to a sales rep how to sell internet. And he said, tell the customer, the more people that we get on the internet, the more valuable it becomes. So it's just like the internet. Think about the internet. The more people that got on it, the more Oracle, the more information Google had and Yahoo had and everything.
And-
So now we're all on the internet.
Right.
That's why it's important, and that's why it's going to go up in value.
Okay, that makes sense. And you give really good analogies. I bet your courses are wonderful, and I think I'll be joining one of them because I would really like to understand
Great.
better. It's difficult for me to invest in something, even though I've done it, when I don't have a clear understanding of it and how I can use it for good. So you gave some examples of states and countries, adding credibility to cryptocurrency by adopting it. What are some of the other ways that this digital platform and currency is changing just the way we look at investing, the way we look at money, the way it's changing the world? I mean, I'm an author. My 8th book is about to come out, thank you, Jesus. But one of the problems I've had is people downloading the book and selling it, redistributing it. And I'm hearing from some other authors that there are ways to digitally transmit books, and you can find them. So I'm trying to make it more practical for people who may not care that, it's an investment like that, but I'm looking for some of the unique ways. So now, and to finish that point, you can track your book all the way from user to user. People can't just share it, make a PDF, print it off, or your music. People are doing it with music. What are some other ways that this is transforming the way we do business?
Let's just go with music for a second. Like authors and artists, you can, because of blockchain, it all comes back to blockchain being this privatized. In my head, I think of blockchains as like NASCAR racing tracks. Like it's a fixed circuit that has cars or information that resides on that network, and they're not racing in the clouds, they're not racing underground, they're on that network, they're on that track, they're on that blockchain. So and having that blockchain has an open ledger, it has a documentation technology that allows us to see all of the accounting, the accounts of exchange and transactions and everything that's happening on it. Well, okay, let's get practical. I'll give you a great brand to watch as well right now. There is a new crypto music brand called Gala Music. And the idea behind Gala Music is...
Wait, what are you saying? Gala?
Gala, G-A-L-A, Gala. Like
Gala. Okay,
like a ball or a gala.
Okay.
Gala Music. And they are actually an offshoot of Gala Games, which is a multi-billion-dollar crypto video game company. So you've got games, you've got artists, you've got music, you've got authors. Well, now we can basically start to bypass, and you can already kind of see, like, think about, this is also the difference between Web 2 and Web 3, if you've heard those terminologies. So I'm going to try to tie together a lot of loose ends here all in one conversation. So Web 2 was Facebook, Apple Music, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, that LinkedIn, that's Web 2, right?
Right.
You remember when Apple Music came along and like the record industry was disrupted, and like now we're not buying CDs, we're in Napster was that, downloads. And now artists were starting to get paid on the download of each individual song rather than just albums. And, there was all that mess. And then now what's going to happen is the artists can have their own thing, and like they can sell their albums as NFTs or non-fungible tokens. And let's just say I bought one of your books as an NFT. This is crazy. Maybe you decide to only have 1,000 books. There's literally only 1,000 books ever, or 100. Let's just say 100 for scarcity's sake. You could say, I'm only allowing 100 people at a time to have 100 of my books. And my books are $500 each. And they're really good books. And you convince us, and we've got loyal, and we follow you. We love your books. And so there's only, but here, your book also comes along. It comes with other owner benefits rather than just the story or the intellectual transfer of information that you give us in your book. Everyone who owns a book gets a free Caribbean cruise with Mo, every year you're in the club, and we also get a t-shirt. We also get, whatever. You get all the things, but I could also resell your book NFT because it resides in the blockchain, and you could program into the smart contract of your book. Every time one of your books is resold, you get a royalty, a 20% royalty or 30% royalty. And so now start thinking about real estate. Start thinking about some of the other stuff. Like, I've flipped a home, or you've sold a home and you've moved into a different home or whatever. But the people who bought my original home from me, they're going to sell it. And then the next part, every 3 to 5 years, these homes are being sold, but I'm not getting a cut on it anymore.
Every time it's sold, right.
In the future, if smart contracts on the blockchain are managing the sale of books, music, real estate, art, the originator of that piece or that NFT, they'll manifest as NFTs, is just kind of how they act as property deeds to digital assets, and now even physical assets. Okay. You can manage to create residual income as an author in perpetuity on works that you put out into the system. So it's going to change the game for artists, and it already has, honestly. It's just the artists who are adopting, the new craze, but it'll seep into the traditional forms of art and academia too.
Absolutely. With those benefits that you just named, like I shared, there's so many opportunities right now to just rip somebody off who spent a lot of time, yes. Even the knowledge here that you're sharing today, this didn't just come overnight. It's intellectual property, and to be able to keep track of it and to benefit from it for generations. It's generational wealth for you. And it's just fair. It's just a fair thing to do. And I can see too where that value will increase if there's only 500 and then you resell it and you've got something special and valuable there. So I can really get on board with that. Any other tips you want to share with us before we go? This has just been fascinating. I've learned more here today than the 8 YouTube videos I watched. It's just got more confused about what the heck is going on.
I think the biggest tip, if you are listening or watching this and you want to be more intelligent with your money or your investing, I think there's a great saying out there, which is time in the market is greater than timing the market, which basically means get in. Okay. Let's just get started. Action creates traction. Like, don't one of the greatest skill sets in the open market is to be able to receive processed information at high speeds and make decisions.
Yes.
And so some of us get stuck in paralysis by analysis mode, and that is human and that is a real thing. But when it comes to deployment of capital, just don't do it emotionally. Just do it gradually. Get started. Throw in $20, throw in $100, throw in whatever. It's subjective to your thing. And one of the first things I get my members to do is I get them to state a ferociously specific desired outcome. Grab a date and a dollar. By December 31st, 2023, I'm going to have X amount of dollars in passive income from crypto, and I'm going to have a total purse value of X amount of dollars because I want to create a better way for my family, or because I want to pay for my dad's retirement that was stolen from him, or because I want to give money to X charity or my church or whatever. Have a why and have a date and have a dollar, and the rest is simply getting into the market and being active and part of it.
And I think that's true for most goals. Actually, what you just said could be applicable to so many things that we're trying to do in life.
Yeah.
So how do folks, you shared with me a wonderful set of crypto cards with basic terminology and cryptocurrency cards, but perhaps you used in your class. And I know there's an opportunity for people watching to get access to that, as well as connect with you and learn more about your courses. So tell us how to reach out to you after this ends.
Yeah, so anybody can go and really you need to join my email list and be a subscriber. And the way you do that is just go to cryptoyall.co, not .com, .co. We got to be different. So cryptoyall, YALL.co. You'll see a page probably with a case study or something like that on there. Drop your name, email address in there, join my email list, and then I will send you some goodies, a checklist, a case study, the flashcards that you mentioned, to just kind of help you get going. And I'll present you with some my crypto wealth mastery class for $7. It's a steal, and that's probably a great place to start.
And you've got some great videos out there too. And this is really, really encouraging. So everybody, you've heard it from a crypto expert with proven returns, not just somebody just jumping on the wagon. And we're just bringing you some information from Perpetual mOetion with Dr. Mo Anderson and Josh Rhodes today to help you review, renew, and renew. It's been a pleasure, Josh. We're going to have you back because this is an ever-growing, ever-expanding opportunity. Really, really appreciate your time today.
It's been an honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Thanks everybody who joined. Appreciate your time as well. And if you didn't get to see it, you should be able to just rewind on Facebook. We're going to leave this up in the archives, but you can also, if you're a podcast person, check it out on Perpetual mOetion with Dr. Mo Anderson on all major platforms. The link to connect with Josh is in the comments. And remember to get out and vote. And it's DEA Take Back Day. You guys know I do drop the drugs. So get rid of those old, unused, expired drugs so no one is poisoned, no one gets addicted, and there's no harm done. So that's it. Take care. Bye now.